Welcome to the Wildlife Gallery. Join your host and fellow wildlife photographer, Doug Wallace, as we go in search of wildlife and wild places doing wild things to photograph. Welcome back, everybody. Today we're talking about a review, or doing a review, I guess is more like it, on the HP Omen 40L desktop computer, but more importantly, HP tech support that I've been dealing with for coming 2 weeks. Monday, April 21st will be 2 weeks. So anyways, to back up some, I ordered this HP Omen 40L from Best Buy, their online app. I had been into the local store. They had a display model there. They did not have one in stock. They were going to have to order it. So I just ended up ordering it myself. And I received it here at the house March 21st. And took me a couple hours to set Windows 11 64-bit up. But everything went seamless. I was able to log into my Google account. And everything that I had backed up on my MSI laptop just downloaded to this 40L. So I was really pleased with that. Got my On1 photo software and DxO Pure Raw and DaVinci Resolve downloaded, and I'm ready to go. And I had been really fortunate. I've been out just about every day the last month photographing and videoing wildlife. So anyways, I started editing photos and everything was going good. It was a little slower than what I thought it would be with the graphics card and the processor in that. So I tweaked a few things, got it to be faster, and I ran with that thing for 2 weeks. And finally, on a Saturday, I decided I was going to start piecing together another video for this YouTube channel. And as I start going through the videos, playing them to see which ones I wanted to keep or delete, I started seeing a wavy line through the bottom third of the video while it's playing on the MP4 Windows Media Player app on this Windows 11, on this HP 40L Omen. And it's a Saturday. I thought, well, it's just a setting or so. So I do some Google and YouTube research, and the entire weekend, Saturday and Sunday both, I'm tweaking things in the settings that I can find that could be causing lagging issues or frame per second drops. And everything I tried didn't help. So on Monday, coming 2 weeks ago, I put in a support ticket to HP Omen Tech Support. And after you hit submit, it gives you an 800 number to call. So I call this 800 number. I get a hold of a tech support guy named Chris. And he's pretty helpful on Monday. He has me do some tweaking things. He logs into the computer remotely and checks, crash reports and stuff like that. And he really doesn't find anything, but he does some other stuff, tells me I'm going to have to restart the computer, and he's on the phone with me nearly an hour. And anyways, he tells me to go ahead, run that, restart the computer, and see if that doesn't alleviate the issue, and that he'd call me back on Tuesday morning. So fast forward, it doesn't fix anything. But Chris does call me back Tuesday morning around 10 a.m. Missouri time, and I tell him it didn't fix anything, and actually it seemed like it made the problem worse. And then I told him the only thing I did notice is that I found a couple of videos where there were no issues out of a couple of hundred I was checking, but the rest of them were. So to eliminate whether it might be the Canon R5 and or video cards or the video card player into the computer, we tried all those videos that had this wavy curly line through them into my MSI desktop laptop, because it has Windows 11 and Windows Media Player app, and they played just fine on my MSI laptop. So when they do that, I tell him I have a 90D, so I get my 90D out. It has 11 videos on it from last spring turkey season. So we put that in there to see if it has the same issues, and lo and behold, it does. So he wants to know if we can use my MSI laptop. I tell him that it's got hardware issues, that it's ran out of memory space and probably won't do what he wants it to do, but my wife has an HP laptop. So we get this HP laptop out. He has me go to HP Recovery, and we download to a USB thumb drive a recovery deal for Windows 11, like a reset, and he wants to reinstall those. So we get that done, put it into the HP Omen 40L, and he logs in remotely to my to this 40L desktop again, and he gets does a Windows reset off of this thumb drive. Tells me it's going to get rid of all the programs I'd already downloaded, which is no big deal. I can just reload them. And he tells me he'll call me back Wednesday morning to see if that had fixed the issue. And but it's going to take about an hour and a half. So anyways, I let that run. I reset up Windows. I reinstall my programs, start checking the video cards, and guess what? The same issue is there. Well, fast forward to Wednesday morning. Chris doesn't call. I finally call in, ask for Chris. They patch him through, and it's like 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and I tell him that it's done the same thing. So now what he wants to do, he's going to have me put in this very same USB, and he wants to delete Windows, delete a few files in there, and then reinstall Windows instead of doing a reset. So anyways, I put this thumb drive back in. He logs into this 40L Omen desktop again. And I remember him going through there, and he's selecting disk partition 1, 2, 3, 4, and 0, and he's going to delete them. And I quiz him pretty hard if that's really something that needs to be deleted. Oh, and I don't know computers, but I'm just wanting to make sure we're on the right path. He says, no, we got to do this because I believe this is where the problem is at. He goes, I'm going to delete these. We're going to start the reinstall of Windows 11, and it's going to take about another hour and a half. You'll have to reload your programs again, and I'll call you back Thursday. So anyways, we go through that process, and then Wednesday afternoon, after it downloads, takes me to the Windows setup menu again. And your very first screen is you have to select your country and what language you want. So select US, select English, go to the next screen, and you have to set up whether your keyboard is US or someplace else. I select yes, hit next. Takes me to set up the next keyboard. If you have two keyboards, I hit skip. Takes you to the next screen where you have to log on to the internet to finish your downloads. And if you've ever done Windows 11 setup, you know what I'm talking about. But when we get to this screen, it tells me I need to install the drivers for Windows 11. So I start trying to get this done, and I cannot get it done. Well, Thursday morning rolls around, 10 o'clock, I still don't have a call from Chris. So I call into the 800 number. I get a India guy and tell him what's going on. Tell him Chris had told me to only ask for him since he knew what was going on with this HP Omen 40L. And he's gone several minutes, gets back on the phone, says he's talked to Chris. Chris is busy, but Chris will call me back soon as he's free. All right, so now that's 10 a.m. Thursday. 3 o'clock Thursday afternoon, I still do not have a call back from Chris at HP Tech Support. So I call back in. I get another guy that seems like he's Indian accent, and I don't have anything against these people, but I simply cannot understand most of them because of their accent while they're speaking English. But this guy's pretty nice. He's wanting to help me. And anyways, I tell him what's going on. He starts doing a bunch of things, and he cannot get past the internet driver setup portion either. And he's on the phone with me till 4:30 that afternoon. Well, he finally has me. I tell him what Chris had done, that Chris had deleted disk partition 1, 2, 3, 4, and 0. And he immediately goes, no, he shouldn't do that. He says, that's where your drivers are at. That's why you can't get past this screen. So he has me put a different thumb drive into my wife's HP laptop. We go back to HP recovery, and we start downloading all the things that the HP Omen 40L desktop, as far as drivers, Windows 11, everything that makes the 40L function. We download that onto this USB thumb drive and put it back into the desktop, and he has me go through commands to reinstall everything onto this desktop. But it's almost 5 o'clock Missouri time now. Going to take another hour or so for that to load up. And he says he'll call me back the following morning, and which is going to be Thursday, but I'm not available till 1 o'clock. So anyways, Thursday rolls around. At 1 o'clock, this guy doesn't call back. He calls back about 1:30. But at least I get a phone call. And we go through trying. He also logs into the computer, also sends me a text on my phone where, since I just can't understand him, but he sends me a text where I can click on it and it'll activate the camera and he can see exactly what's on the screen. So we start this process, and we're on the phone together for a couple of hours again. And he cannot get that Omen to take these drivers. So he finally tells me, he goes, look, I need to consult my material here at the office. I need to see what other ways around, like coming through the back door, to get these things to install. Tells me he'll call me back Friday. So I'm getting a little perturbed at this moment that I can't get anything done, and I don't get phone calls back like everyone keeps telling me. As I find out through this process, there are a bunch of lying SOBs. They never follow through with what they tell the customer they're going to do. So anyways, Friday morning comes along. He doesn't call. Finally calls back about 2 p.m. Friday afternoon. So we go through the same processes. He has me put this USB drive back in, sends me a link for him to be able to see the screen on my cell phone. And again, for the next 2 hours, he tries to get this HP Omen to take the setup for it that will help or should reinstall all drivers into the Omen. Well, at about 3:30, I think his name is Shaquem, really heavy accent, a nice guy. This guy really is trying to fix the problem. But 2 hours later, he finally throws his hands up and says, it's not fixable, that I need to take this HP Omen 40L back to where I purchased it. And I told him this is probably going to be a problem because I checked Best Buy's website, and the return policy at Best Buy is 14 days, and I'm now at day 19. And he starts telling me on the phone, no, that is false, that I have 30 days to return it. And so I start barking at him pretty hard. I tell him I want to speak to his manager. He does get a manager on the phone, and the manager kind of relates the same thing, is that, my return period's 30 days, not 14. Take it back to HP and exchange it for another one. So reluctantly, I box it back up. I go to my local store here, go into the return desk. I start talking to a couple of young guys behind there, and he's punching stuff in. He's trying to return it, and he gives me a look, looks at the other return guy, and he goes, I'm sorry, we can't take this back. It's past 14 days. It's been 19 days. So I tell him what I've been through, and he goes, sorry, our return policy is 14 days. My reply to him was, I didn't know about him, but that I was willing to go to jail that day for the $2,240 that I had paid Best Buy, which in turn had paid HP for this HP Omen 40L desktop computer. And he immediately grabs his mic, calls for the store manager on duty. Really nice guy at Best Buy. I'm not dishing Best Buy in this review, a guy named Jim. And anyways, Jim listens to my story. I show him some videos off of my phone, what this laptop's doing, tell him everything that I've been through for the last 5 days. And he shakes his head. He's apologetic for HP, which HP has yet to apologize to me for deleting the drivers off of the desktop. But anyways, Jim looks at me and he goes, he asked me, he goes, well, if you're wanting a desktop, could we just exchange it for another one? And I told him that I had been in the store 3 weeks earlier prior to ordering this one, and that while they had a display model, that they had none in stock. And he tells me, he goes, well, that was probably at that time. I bet we have stock now. And he again asked if I would exchange it. And I tell him reluctantly I would do that because I've not been happy with the Omen. But if that was the only resort, that I would do that instead of demanding my money back out of Best Buy, because it really isn't their fault. The trouble that I'm having, it's HP tech support and a guy in particular named Chris. So anyways, we go to the back, we start looking, he checks their inventory, they don't have one. He's going to try and overnight one for me. A little late in the day to really get that done, but he's going to put the quickest turnaround time he can on this HP Omen 40L desktop to do an exchange. Well, when he tries to order one from through Best Buy, he finds out that the HP Omen 40L desktop has now been discontinued through Best Buy. So he can't even get me a swap and exchange an Omen 40L for an Omen 40L. And I look at him, I go, well, I wonder why that is. The problems I'm having is probably pretty consistent, even though the reviews that I checked online gives that Omen like a 4.3, 4.6, somewhere out of 5 stars on that, which is pretty good. So to Jim's credit, He looks for the same graphics card, the same type of processor, the same everything, but in a different brand. And he finds that he can get me an Alienware, which I find out is really Dell, has the very same graphics card in it, but it does have an Intel processor instead of a AMD. And in his opinion, the Intel's better than the AMD as well. The problem is, for me, is that the Alienware is $427, that's with tax, more than the HP Omen. And of course, Best Buy doesn't want to cover that. So again, it's not Best Buy's fault. So I tell him, well, I will deal with HP. I'll try and get my money back. Go ahead, order that Alienware. To Best Buy and Jim's credit, he meets me halfway on that, guys. So Jim cuts the cost down to $200 plus tax for me to get this Alienware. So I have nothing but praise to say about HP or about Best Buy and particular Jim, whether he's the manager or was manager on duty that day. They tried to make the customer happy and whole in this process. So anyways, fast forward on Wednesday, April 16th, I get my Alienware. I set it up. Of course, it has Windows 11, same graphics card. And guess what? The very same problem, guys. The very same problem. I don't understand this. I do have an appointment for now next Wednesday. I believe it's the 23rd of April with the Geek Squad. I talked to them there. I showed them some videos. They think it's a pretty easy fix, which I'm pretty skeptical of because HP tech support, you would think them guys would be at the top end of support guys around. But anyways, to this date, I have they escalated my complaint at HP. On Monday last week, or Monday this week, I get a phone call from a lady at HP support. She wants to know what's all went on. I tell her the entire story. I tell her they should pay the difference and or send me a new HP Omen or refund my money, because this really isn't Best Buy's fault. They shouldn't be out an extra $200 in this deal. So anyways, she tells me she needs to escalate this sum. She needs to be able to get authorization to do any of these three options. Tells me she's going to send me an email that has her email, name, and direct extension at HP Tech Support. Well, guess what? I still have yet to have a phone call back from that woman. I have called every day. I have sent emails every day to HP. Apparently, they have just washed their hands of this. I can't get a hold of anybody, so now I'm down to dealing with only the Geek Squad over at Best Buy to get rid of this. And I'm hoping as this video plays, guys, that I'm able to show you the issue I'm having with the squiggly lines through the MP4 or Windows Media Player app. And I don't run C-Log, I don't run RAW or anything like this. I do run some slow-mo 120 frames per second. Excuse me, the rest of it's going to be 50 frames per second stuff, all 4K. But again, every card reader, every SD card or CF Express Type B card that I'm having issues with on that Omen and now on the Alienware, I can plug those into my wife's HP laptop. They play fine. I can plug it into my MSI laptop. They play fine. And I've ran them through DaVinci to see if DaVinci will get rid of that prior to posting it to YouTube. And wouldn't you know, about 50% of the time, whatever DaVinci does get rid of those squiggly lines. The other 50% of the time, it does not. So there's absolutely no rhyme or reason to this, but I can tell you this. HP tech support, in particular, a guy named Chris, is horrendous. If you're out there looking for a gaming computer, I don't game, but I do wildlife photography and video editing and stuff like that. So I wanted these really fast processors and graphics cards. And I guess what I'm going to go to next, if next Wednesday on the 23rd of April, if Geek Squad can't fix this, I'm going to return the Alienware and I'm going to get a Mac, I guess. Everyone that I've talked to about this all have Macs, and of course they all love them. They say they don't have this type of problem with a Mac. Maybe somebody out there can speak to that, whether a Mac is better or not better. They are more expensive by quite a bit, because if I was going to look at one, I want the MacBook Pro. But anyways, you all out there, stay away from HP, especially an HP Omen 40L gaming desktop computer. I'd stay away from HP at all in any cost. They are fraudsters. They don't follow through on anything that they say they're going to do for a customer. And it has now been 5 days. I can't get a hold of anybody. Nobody will call me back. I continually send emails. I call in. I'm able to get a hold of somebody. I tell them what I'm going through. They say they'll leave a message. I can get a hold of a manager. The only thing the manager will do is say, I can put in an escalation ticket. I've got 3 of them going already, and nothing is being done by HP. And it is HP tech support that rendered this HP Omen 40L useless. It's nobody else's fault but a guy named Chris at HP tech support out of the New Mexico office. And the last thing I'm going to say to HP, and particular Chris in New Mexico, is he's darn lucky he's not within an hour drive of Columbia, Missouri, or I'd be looking him in the eyeball. Y'all get out there, run the shutter, enjoy wildlife photography, and stay the heck away from Hewlett Packard and HP. I'll catch you on the next video.